So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the class of 2021 graduation ceremony. As we told our senior class, this is a long time coming, not just because they're seniors, but what they've been through and you have been through as family members. So to start our event for today, if you would please rise, remember those who have protected, served, and defended our nation's freedom as we play our national anthem. with no practice, this is what happens. Our first speaker who will do our welcome, Vida.
Good morning. My name is Veda Somashekar, and as one of your student body presidents, it is my honor to welcome the Century staff, faculty, families and friends of graduates, and of course, the class of 2021 to graduation, here at our very own Century High School. 4 years ago, we walked into the school ready to see what it had to offer. As anxious freshmen, we were ready to pick our own classes, build new relationships, and go to school events. But as we wore our backpacks and lugged our textbooks through the hallways, we came to realize how busy the high school life is. Prioritizing our academics, extracurriculars, work, and time with family and friends became difficult, but it was the first step towards our growth, and we became responsible for getting the necessary work done. We dreaded the stressful days of staying up late working on homework, coming back from away games late at night, knowing that we had school the next day. We pushed ourselves to be the best we could the past few years, and let me tell you, it was hard, and quite honestly, nothing like High School Musical. But here we are, graduation day. We wouldn't have been able to make it without our teachers, family, and friends. But most importantly, we wouldn't have even been able to have a graduation if it wasn't for the administration. So thank you to the administration for advocating for an in-person graduation. It has been a challenging past couple school years with the pandemic changing the world. We have persevered through several unknowns, like wondering if we would ever get out of quarantine, or wondering if we would have to stay online our entire senior year. But a lesson we all learned is to not take things for granted. We didn't know it at the time, but during our junior year, we experienced our last Friday night football game. Homecoming, Pep Fest, and Bear Creek Week. We found ourselves longing for these simple moments, interactions, and experiences that we never gave much thought to before. Though we have missed out on a lot of things, we've gone through high school like no one else has before. And because of this, we will be known as the class that has survived it all. The memories we have shared from walking into this building on the first day of school to our first and last Pep Fest, our first and last homecoming, and our first and last Bear Creek Week, till today, sitting in our own high school gym on graduation day. These are ones we will never forget. As we have all come here today accomplishing one of our major early milestones, I hope we can take this as an example of how anything is truly possible. And as our Vice President Kamala Harris says, dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they have never seen it before. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Good morning. Our next speaker will be Blake Hillman, member of the class of 2021.
Thank you. Now, as I look back at my 4 years, I realized there was one question that my fellow students kept asking that always got me thinking. When are we going to apply any of the stuff we learned here? Because to some point, both sides of this question are legitimate. Kids are focused on particular pieces of information that, depending on future circumstance, might not impact them at all, like learning trigonometric equations or the specific facts of Hamlet. but our teachers are really just trying to give us a basis of information and post-secondary life skills that we will need no matter where we go. So I decided to share 3 lessons that I learned in high school that have almost nothing to do with the curriculum, but everything to do with life. Now the first lesson is from 9th grade biology. For the teacher would start class first 15 minutes with the same question: what do you want to learn about today? For every time that a kid would answer, he would always respond in relation to biology. Now some people in the room thought this is a complete waste of time, but I see it differently. See, all he was trying to do was give us a choice in what we learned that day, since the rest of the curriculum, especially early on, wasn't really our choice at all. And he would spin it to biology just to keep it somewhat relevant to the rest of the class. And in life, a similar thing happens. See, especially at this age and younger, your day-to-day life isn't really decided for you, but what you make of it is. For a school-related example, you might not have to take, or you have to take biology, you have to take math, you have to take history, but how much you remember, how well you do in it, and how many times you have to take it is really up to you. So, this really made me learn how to be accountable for your part in life and to always take advantage of the choices you get to make. And the second lesson I will share is from my 9th grade English teacher. For every year, I would go up to her room and talk about what was bothering me during my off hours. And in my sophomore year, I started noticing that almost everyone else she had in class was doing the exact same thing. And it made me wonder, why was everybody comfortable around her? I mean, her listening skills and advice was amazing, but a lot of teachers are good at that. So what made her so special? And then I realized, as I walked out of the room one day, that her light was on and her door was unlocked, even though she wasn't even in the room. Now, this might be too little or make no sense, but to me it really gave the idea of choosing to be available for people. Choosing to be available for your students even when you physically are not. Even if it might be not ideal, but you're trying to help them in some fashion. Through this, I realized how much even the smallest of gestures can impact people's confidence in not just themselves, but in others as well. And the final lesson I'm going to talk about is from 10th grade English. For in that class, I read what would be my favorite book I ever read in school, The Great Gatsby. For the specific piece of The Great Gatsby that'll always get to me is the last paragraph. For Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic view of the future that year by year recedes before us. It eluded us then, but that's no matter. For tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther, and one fine morning, so we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Now let me ask you all a question. Who turns off that green light? No one. But why? See, nobody needs it. Why not just turn it off? It's because, in my view, it was never just Gatsby's light. For me, this page is not meant to be the finish of Gatsby's story, but the start of the new story of the reader. For Nick chooses to be pessimistic about the green light in this paragraph, but I've chosen to be more optimistic about it. For the green light, in my mind, is a symbol of dedication to your future and your belief in achieving it. It will only turn off when you want it to. So I leave you all, students, family, faculty, with one question. Where will that green light lead you?
Our faculty speaker this morning is Miss Catherine Gardner. She's a social studies here and a favorite of many of us.
Thank you. Those are 2 very difficult acts to follow. Good morning and welcome to what is undoubtedly going to be the best of the 3 graduations today. First of all, let me tell you how wonderful it is to see your faces. Parents, grandparents, friends, family, and especially graduates. After 15 months of only seeing icons and a little bit of time of seeing some of you behind masks, let me just tell you, you are gorgeous. My name is Catherine Gardner, and I have been a social studies teacher and student council advisor for 3 decades, 2 of those here at Century. This is my 31st graduation, and by the end of the day, I will have attended 33 consecutive graduations. At 1 o'clock, 2 of my former students are having their son graduate from Century High School, and I will officially be old. All over Rochester, the United States, the world, children are graduating from preschool, grade school, middle school, and especially high school right now. And they are all being reminded of the unprecedented times in which this rite of passage is taking place. It's impossible for me to not embrace that same message. As much as I'd like to find something truly unique to say to you today, and your families, the truth of the matter is you have just been through 15 months that beyond a shadow of a doubt defined your high school career and in many ways your future. When you walked out the door of the ALC or Century High School on March 17th, 2020, you walked into a world that was truly untested. You were forced to walk away from a season of sports, musical performances, academic competitions, as well as your daily routine, your friends, your junior prom, the comfort and yes, monotony of school, and oh, so much more. You ended your junior year with unclear expectations and an unbelievably uncertain future. And you had to adapt to a new world order as well. You were faced with the reality of face masks and lockdowns and toilet paper shortages. And then, after a summer of more uncertainty, you entered senior year online. And in spite of hopes, and I dare say a few prayers, you remained online for 3 quarters, 1 full year away from high school. And if the pandemic weren't enough to put on your shoulders, you also were challenged by a summer of civil unrest and renewed emphasis on civil rights. You were forced to face difficult realities and to find your voice even when it was easier to stay silent. Many of you voted in your first presidential election and then saw democracy teetering like so many other things in our world last year. And to top it all off, Rochester decided to once again rebuild every single road in the city. In spite of what my pastor calls the amygdala jangling power of anxiety, you proved to be courageous and full of soul. You should celebrate the ways you both survived and flourished in the past 15 months in spite of setbacks and hardships. You made your own traditions, memories, and pods. You figured out your priorities and both connected with your loved ones and did everything you could to keep them safe. You sacrificed in ways that no 17 or 18-year-old should be expected to do. You dealt with a totally underwhelming senior year and survived limbo until restrictions were loosened and you were ready to take the next step toward your future. In many ways, your graduation, your memories on this very day will be forever connected to the end of the restrictions and truly a beginning of a sense of freedom, confidence, and hope after the shadow of last year. History teachers in the future, not me because we've established that I'm old, will teach about these times just as we currently teach about the Great Depression and the major world wars. So yes, these days defined you and you should embrace your definition. However, to many of you I need to say, please don't let who you were this year define you. Do not be, either metaphorically or literally, a person who never turns on their camera and never turns on their microphone. Do not be, metaphorically or literally, the person who logs into life and then disappears. Do not be the person who tries to simultaneously do work and school, or video games and school, or whatever else you were doing on your phones while you were logged into class. Don't be those people. Be the people who rise to the challenges, overcome the obstacles, and embrace relationships and learning. Be cognizant of how your disengagement impacts other people. Step away from complacency and make the most of what you have been given, even if it's not what you wanted, and even if it's hard. Get your work done on time, not because you have to, because it's the right way to be part of a community. Pursue knowledge, not points. You have proven that you can do hard things. Don't let the worst of yourselves overpower the best of yourselves. A student wrote this on her end of course evaluation. I wish we all would have had those certain activities that we were looking forward to. My senior year feels incomplete. I think that's okay though. Without this year, I don't think I would have had such an open mind to all sorts of things. With the amount of barriers and obstacles that obstructed the way, I now know everything will be okay. I couldn't say it any better. Take time in this new beginning to breathe, to define who you want to be, and to trust in your future. Thank you.
Next, our Century Choir choral selection, For Good by Stephen Swartz.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that feeds a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better?
Because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime, so let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend.
Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better?
But because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share.
And none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet runs wandering by a wind of the sea, like a seed dropped by a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. Because I know you,
And now, comments from Superintendent Munoz.
Today is a special day as we recognize our 2021 graduates. It's extra special for me since this is my last graduating class as superintendent at Rochester Public Schools. Graduates, it truly has been a challenging year for you due to the pandemic. Distance learning worked well for some and not so well for others. But throughout this school year, you demonstrated resiliency. The dictionary defines resilient as a person able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. I think we can all agree that this year created difficult conditions for all of us. But you all have withstood the conditions and made it to here today at graduation. I'd like to share with you a poem that was written by Amy Ike, who is a colleague of mine, entitled Milestone. After miles traveled and stones thrown, some said you couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. But you rose and pushed across the road and bridge and up the mountainside toward dreams that lie beyond. You worked and learned and worked and learned and laughed and cried with fellow learners and teacher friends who cared whether you reached the top. And here you are at the peak, arms up and shouting, I did it. You did it. You reached to the top. Stop now and look back at all you did. Pause and ponder before you turn to see what is next. We know what might be out there, more mountains, but easier to scale now that you know the path and tools. But first there is the downhill ride, a rest from the work, building momentum for your next success. Take a breath, touch the clouds, and enjoy the ride. I wish all of you good luck as you move to your next success. Thank you for everything you've done for our district and our community, and congratulations, Rochester Public Schools graduates of 2021.
Graduates of the Century Class 2021, it is an honor to be here today to celebrate you and your accomplishments. We know that this is a moment in time that you will remember as the year of the pandemic, yet it's so much more, and each of you have played an important role in it. My encouragement to you is to thank all of the people who have supported you along the way, your families, your teachers, your peers, and be ready to embrace the people and places you have met to experience on your journey. Give yourself and others grace. Bask in today's joy for the powerful achievement. Despite the year behind you, you did it. We want to take this time to recognize our seniors who have made commitments to serve our country in the military. These students are Allison Nelson, going in the Navy, Bryce Nelson, into the Marines, Amelia Bowe, Army, Brian Folkert, Air Force Academy, Jake Sheffers, Marine Corps, and Marshall Gossie Graham into the National Guard. Please join me in thanking them for their dedication to the country. Director Nathan, it is my pleasure as interim principal of Rochester Century High School to present to you the 381 graduates for the graduating class of 2021. They have successfully met requirements for the diplomas as set forth by the Minnesota Department of Education and the Board of Education of Rochester Public Schools. We are very proud of each and every one of our Panthers.
Graduates, we will all remember this year as being one like no other. But the class of 2021 will be remembered for your perseverance through adversity, for speaking up for yourselves and speaking out to benefit others, and for the unique skills, talents, and perspectives that have enhanced this Century community. You all conquered the challenges before you to achieve this important life milestone, and we are confident in your abilities to achieve any goals that lie ahead. We know the world will be a better place because you will lead with what you have learned in your head and because of what you have shown us is in your hearts. On behalf of the Rochester School Board, it is with great pleasure that I accept the Century High School class of 2021 as having met all the requirements for graduation from Rochester Public Schools. Congratulations to you all.
We'd like to ask everyone to please silence their phones at this time. And also, please hold your applause and cheering until all diplomas have been awarded. Warsame Abdi. Ella Adams. Egner Aguirre Lopez. Abdi Talif Ahmed. David Akembulu. Omar Ali. Cassandra Allegri. Emma Elred. Sadika Bandy. Joshua Berthium. Jonathan Blixt. Gabe Bornstein. Peyton Browdy. Jordan Breedy. Sarah Buller. Hayden Bushman. Shane Cleary. Michael Cousino. Harper Dare. Parmita Das. Morgan Davis. Andy Delaney. Anjali Danthi. Emily Dunford. Brinley Dunn. Roa Elbashir. Jamie Ellsworth. Tyler Engen. Walla Essie. Dorian Fain. Elizabeth Fire. Carly Finseth. Nicole Fritz. Aubrey Gorgon. Trevon Grendall. Rachel Gross. Elliot Hare. Ismail Hamsajic. Lauren Hansen. Cleo Hansen. Ella Hansen. Lily Harvey. Olivia Henriksen. Cecilia Holman. Madison Holte. Noah Howe. Omar Hussein. Emily Erkey. Kaylee Ilias. Xavier Jackson. Connor Jensen. Kamaria Johnson. Sydney Johnson. Kennedy Johnston. Margaret Kelly. Alexa Kelly. Marissa Kelzer. Max Kiger. Dahlia King. Madeline Klotzbach. Lily Kong. Molly Kong. Christy Larson. Alyssa Lisea. Shelby Leitz. Tomer Leckerlocker. Carden Lesky. Ryan Lewis. Lillian Linden. And Jilly Maddie. Sanan Mahik. Brandon Malm. Isaac Matson. Monica McEachran. Elijah McLaughlin. Grace Melton. Abdirazak Mohammed. Ibtial Muhammad. Rima Mohammed. Emily Mossman. Luke Nadolny. Allison Nelson. Bryce Nelson. Ty Nelson. Zachary Navala. Alyssa Naveau. Owen Nord. Katarina Norton. Ashley Olson. Sydney Olson. Emanuela Opiu. Jacob Outcolt. Tansacha Plong. Nishant Prasad. Nina Rayfelt. Brooke Reese. Asta Roadway. Sophie Schleicher. Amanda Schmelzer. Dylan Seidlitz. Varsha Sean. Amy Shannon. Gracie Shannon. Trinity Shepherd. Jaden Shop. Jasmine Skedsvold. Chloe Skirdall. Hunter Smith. Isaac Smutzer. Veda Somashekar. Jet Sorensen. Connor Stayert. Andrea Stans. Judah Steer. Emma Stone. Isla Sulovich. Rosie Talamantes. Ruben Tim. Ian Thompson. Taylor Thompson. Just wait, Taylor. Catherine Thorvalson. Nyakuth Tong. Emma Tigert. DeAndre Van. Jasmine Waldron. Bjorn Walker. Kate Walker. Michaela Walker. Michelle Weatherly. Kieran Witt. Taya Woolley. Yadita Yuya. Benjamin Zebarth. Kaya Zimmerman. Laura Rundon.
Congratulations. Graduates, at this time, congratulations. Please turn your tassels to the left. Parents, as you leave the gymnasium, please exit the same way you came in. Graduates will meet you on the front end.
Do I get to do it without my glasses?